Welcome to another edition of Songs of the Ozarks, a project of the Ozark Studies Institute, an ongoing initiative of the Missouri State University Libraries. My name is Emalee Flatness, and today's date is September 19th, 2022. We're here in the Ozarks Room at the Missouri State University, and we're here with our special guests, Melinda and Peggy Mullins. Thank you, ladies, so much for meeting with me today.
We are honored to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So, we talked about this a little bit ago, but one of the reasons I'm so excited for this interview is it is so special that you are not just pushing your own music, but also carrying the legacy of such an important person who spread so much music around here in the Ozarks, Johnny Mullins.
Yes.
Could you both, and he was your husband, Peggy,
Yes.
and your father, Melinda, could you tell me a little bit about his early life going into his later experiences here in the Ozarks with music, and then on a national scale?
Sure. I'll start talking, and you hit me when you want to say something, or I'll hand it over to you. But Dad was born and raised in Berry County, down by Exeter, Cassville, Ridgely, that area, and he wrote his first song when he was 8 years old. And he just loved writing, and he learned to play guitar by a correspondence course that he ordered from Sears or something, I think. And he bought his guitar he earned the money by picking strawberries in Berry County in the summer. And so he earned that money for sure. And he kept on writing, and he stayed in the Ozarks for a while. He wanted to join the Army, but he had a hip injury from swinging on a rope swing at the river and not landing very well. So the Army wouldn't take him, so he did the Civilian Conservation Corps, and he worked in the wheat fields in Nebraska, and then he was a lumberjack on the West Coast for several years. And during that time, he kept writing, but he also did radio shows. He recorded a little bit of what they called transcriptions, which were wax recordings. And he was getting quite a little name for himself, especially from the girls that would come in and watch this DJ through the window. As you can tell, he's a very handsome man. And so he came back after that and ended up moving to Springfield because the Ozark Jubilee was happening. And would you like to take it from there?
Well, he met Porter Wagoner and met a lot of the people from that used at the Grand Ole Opry, ended up at the Grand Ole Opry. And so I don't know if we met Loretta Lynn there or not, but he met the Wilson brothers there, I think. But he did meet Porter there, and that's when Porter and him had coffee at a little coffee house down on the corner at Jefferson and St. Louis Street. And Porter asked him. He found out John was a songwriter, and so he asked him to write him a song. So he went and wrote him a song called Companies Are Comin'.
Yeah, that's a good one. You want to hear a little bit of that one?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, this song, it was Porter's first hit because he had just moved up here from West Plains to do the Jubilee. But this song was recorded by, Red Foley and
Tennessee
Ernie Ford. I know Jack Benny used to do it. Mickey Mouse did it. Silver Dollar City used to open up the city every day with it for years and years and years.
I think they still do.
Oh, do they?
Yep,
I hope
with
so.
Johnny Mullins songs.
I hope so. Let's see. Oh, Mama, I'm excited. I'm almost out of breath. What I saw like to made me run myself to death. I was on the mountainside and I looked down below. Glory be, I thought I'd better come and let you know that we got company coming, company coming, company coming up the road. They're coming up that mountainside. Emalee Flatness, don't you run and hide. Company's coming up the road.
Aww.
So that was his first hit, and that really got his foot in the door. And he never sang or performed on the Opry, but he was there a lot. In fact, I think that was your first date, wasn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met at the Ozark Manufacturing Company that used to be over here on Traffic Way. And then the Grand Ole Opry was going on, so that's where we had our Saturday
You mean the
night.
Ozark Jubilee?
Ozark, what did I say?
Grand Ole Opry. Whoops.
Excuse me.
She got to tell me all the time I was growing up that I did something wrong, so I just got to correct her. Yay! And so eventually the Ozark Jubilee went off the air, and there was a mass exodus. A lot of people moved down to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad had the opportunity to move down there. They wanted him to, and they wanted him at publishing houses or to do, writing contracts and things. And Dad was just like, he and Mom had this sweet little life in the Ozarks, and at this point in time, he was a janitor. And that was his career job.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually loved it. He loved mentoring the kids. He loved joking with the kids. He was a counselor. I've heard so many people say that Mr. Mullins really changed their life. And the teachers loved him because they could use an example of, if you don't behave, then you're not going to be able to hear the janitor sing when he pulls out his guitar.
Oh.
After lunch, so everybody would behave.
Oh my goodness.
So he really enjoyed that, and he would go down to Nashville on occasion, and he would take a bunch of cassette tapes, and he would put them in every pocket that he could. Maybe he even put them in his socks, I don't know. Because back in those days, it was hand delivery. You didn't send things through WeTransfer or Google. It was very...
Nothing like that.
No,
Right.
no. And
Right.
yeah, so he loved the contact with it, and he loved meeting the people. And in 1962, the Wilburn brothers, who had moved down there, started Decca Records. They said, Johnny, we've got this young gal that just signed our record label, and do you have a song for her? Because at that point in time, she was not writing her own music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was little Miss Loretta Lynn. So Loretta Lynn's first top 10 hit was a song called Success. And it was we call it the cautionary tale, where somebody gets famous and they don't treat their partner the same that they used to. And I spend all my evenings all alone. We used to go out walking hand in hand. Success has made a failure of our home. It's a good song.
Oh, certainly. What a line.
Yeah, and Sinead O'Connor and Elvis Costello ended up recording that one also. So that was another really good notch for Dad's credibility as a writer. And then Loretta said, well, Johnny, will you write one specifically for me? And that's the one we call the big one.
Little Kentucky Girl. I'll never will forget the day she called, wanted to talk to John. And I said, oh boy. So I said, of course, she had to call over to the school where he was working, and she said, hello, darling.
And that was after the principal got to page him. Mr. Mullins, Miss Loretta Lynn's on the phone.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was wonderful. And so that was the song. It was Blue Kentucky Girl, obviously, because her eyes are blue and she's from Kentucky. And that simple, beautiful song has so much resonance, and it's just continues. Every karaoke machine in the world has it. People are always doing it, and I always liked the song, but until I started singing it myself, I didn't realize, oh, this is why people sing it, because it's so simple, but it's so from the heart, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And Emmylou Harris did a cover of that in 1979, and she got nominated for a Grammy for her album entitled Blue Kentucky Girl, and my daddy got nominated for Song of the Year. And
might as well got the Grammy because he was so popular afterwards.
Oh yeah, the town and basically the entire world went crazy.
Got letters from everywhere.
Yeah, the story of a janitor being nominated for a Grammy.
Right.
Yeah. So it was that was a really big deal, and he did not win that Grammy, but he won the biggest assembly at Wilder Elementary School ever before and to this day. And they surprised him. They had all these kids and people from the community in the gymnasium, and Dad always said, I don't know how they got everybody in there without me hearing them. And it was just huge, and it was such a celebration, and there were pom-poms, and there was confetti, and there was a giant cake, and they had the whole school decorated, and at the end of it, Dad got to clean up.
Oh, they could have had a special guest janitor or something. Oh,
So
He didn't know you and I were going to be there either.
Oh.
And they had us behind the curtains, and after he was playing, he knew he was supposed to be playing for him. He didn't have any clue about all this other stuff. So they opened up, and there we were, and it was really
That was a good
surprise
day.
to him too.
Oh my goodness. Did he ever play like gigs around here? Kind of like you do, Melinda?
Not like I do. I took all this. He gave me the material, and I do a lot of shows. But Dad, he would do.
He did quite a few because after he retired, especially because
yes.
he had me to help him sing with him. I sang we would go sing for different places. I don't remember the places because I got a little older.
Thank goodness.
Well, you don't look it.
But
I can remember him doing like some TV shows, local stuff, definitely a lot of radio things, and things like banquets and some little theater shows. And he just, when I compare it to what I'm doing, I know you're a musician also, and sometimes you just feel like you're in a whirlwind. And so Dad did them, but he spent a lot more time writing than he did performing. And I had no idea how prolific his writing was until after he passed away. I mean, I knew it, like while I was growing up. Dad was so generous, and he would always share all of this with Mom and I. I wrote a new song, and he always wanted us to hear it, and he wanted to know our opinion. And of course, me being a little girl, I'd be like, "Oh, I love it." And Mom sometimes she'd say, maybe you need to tweak that verse a little.
even Blue Kentucky Girl, I tweaked.
No kidding.
Do you remember what part?
I don't remember, but I said, I think you need to work on that a little bit. I don't remember what it was, but
Well, you should have won the Grammy.
Yeah, no kidding. Did you guys get to go with him to
Yeah.
the Grammys?
Not the actual ceremony, because that's a ticketed event, and our being able to go at all was a surprise. The school raised money for Mom and I to be able to fly out, and my mom had family out there, so we got to go, but we watched it on TV, but we were out there.
Oh.
he had news people taking him around and doing things, with him, so we couldn't be with him exactly. So he had the thing was his, and we went with my aunt and uncle. So
Yeah, he got to meet Emalee, and they became. Actually, Loretta and Emalee were both pen pals with Dad for years and years, basically up until he passed away in 2009.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he would continue to send them songs, and Emalee recorded a couple others of his, 2 or 3, but I just was blown away at a point in my life. Like, if somebody would have told me 11 years ago that I would be doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years, I would have said, "Oh, come on." But I realized that Dad had started storing so many cassette tapes in shoe boxes, and a lot of them were like transferred from reel to reel, or some of them were directly, he would record them in his little study. And I started listening to these songs, and some of them were songs that I remembered him saying, "Hey, I wrote a song," but there was so much that went back to the 50s, maybe the 40s, up until the 90s, and they're really good. And it just dawned on me, because I don't have any children, and this is my legacy. This music is so important to keep it alive. I mean, it's a story of the Ozarks, but it's a story of everybody's life. Every show I do, there's something that people can relate to, because everybody has had their heart broken, or everybody has gone fishing, or had an old homestead that's all torn down, and his writing career spanned 60 years.
Wow.
So the volume of it, I mean, currently, and especially before COVID, but I had worked up over 4 hours of material without repeating anything.
All of his stuff?
Oh yeah, all of his stuff. And I still have more, and fortunately, I love performing solo, and I also have some great people that I perform with. Bo Brown was very instrumental in helping me arrange this stuff when I first started. I would rush out to his cabin, and I'd just be so excited. I'd be like, oh, you gotta hear this, you gotta hear this. And I hadn't even really played guitar, so it's been a real learning experience for me, and it's a responsibility, but it's also just such a joy. Yeah. And my mom also carries his music. I mean, she sings with singing groups. When she goes to jams, she'll sing John's song.
Used to sing him at church, but I haven't sang him at church in a long time.
Oh, man. You ought to do that.
Well, I used to at Cowboy Church, but I haven't sung in a long time.
Man.
Do you want to do that? That song? Yeah. Yeah. We can do like the first verse and the chorus. Okay. Unless we get on a roll.
Well, unless I can
You
sing.
guys just sing as much as you want.
Okay, let me start. Oh, how well I do remember back in old camp meeting times. I'd linger in the shadows, try to hide this face of mine. I could barely hear the preacher, barely hear the elders pray. Then one night I heard a voice from heaven say, move up a little closer, don't hide in the shadows. Come out and be counted with the children of the Lord. Move up a little closer, climb high up the mountain. Come out and be counted with the children of the Lord.
Let's do a tag. Come out and be counted with the children of the Lord.
Whoa. When did he write that one?
He wrote that one probably in the 60s, and that was recorded by the Wilburn Brothers. Oh. And so that's out there in the universe, and
that's so good.
One of the songs that I have a group called the Layton Hollow Gals, which is named after the hollow where Dad was born and raised down in Berry County. And it can either be a trio with Emily Higgins and Betsy May, or Betsy and I will do a duo, but there's all this harmony and there's stand-up bass, but all of the Layton Hollow Gals, it's all Johnny Mullins material. And it's so much fun. And boy, we make them cry, we make them laugh. I could remember Dad really getting tickled about saying, "Oh, we're going to have those Baptists rolling in the aisles."
How do you think religion and the Ozarks affected Johnny's music?
It did.
Really?
Oh yeah.
He wrote a lot of songs that were religious songs, and yeah, he was a good Christian man. So he didn't write those kind of songs that were,
Well, he used to have a phrase. Actually, he had some letterhead for a while in the 80s. The tagline at the bottom of the paper said, "I never wrote a song I couldn't use as a Bible marker."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he had some that would, kind of push the edge a little bit, get a little, sassy, but it was true, and I think that's one of the reasons why he also didn't want to move to Nashville. And he was always proud to say, I've kept the same wife, I've kept the same house, and I had to get a new car after 250,000 miles. I want to do the chorus to It's Been a Good Day, Lord. And this is engraved on Dad's tombstone over at Maple Park Cemetery.
He's buried just right near us now then.
Yes, he is. He is. And this song, this is performed down at the Old Field Opry a lot. They love to do this song, and the whole place sings along. And
wow.
It's just one of our favorites.
They've got it up on the wall.
Yeah, they've got a plaque that says it.
Wow.
I'll just do the first verse and then the chorus. Many scenes in my childhood I I fondly recall. But one of them lingers, more precious than all. In the shank of the evening, my daddy would pray, and he'd talk to his Jesus in his own simple way. It's been a good day, Lord. It's been a good day. The children are healthy and they're able to play. There's food on the table and the cattle have hay. It's been a good day, Lord. It's been a good day.
Wow. What a lovely song.
And that sums up Johnny Mullins. You know.
So special. When is it that you decided that you wanted to play your dad's music and carry on this legacy?
The actual year was 2013.
Wow.
So next year will be 10 years.
Wow.
And it was just a compilation of, he passed away in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, before he died and after, I would kind of mess around with guitar a little bit. I'm like, well, there's only 3 chords to most of Dad's songs. And so I would do a few of them, like around a campfire at a festival or at a party or something. And but it was just kind of messing around. And it wasn't until I started discovering all the body of work, and it took me a while to kind of actually even start going through that stuff, because there was a grieving process. And now when I do shows, you know, some people always come up after every show and talk to me, because Dad's music is so impactful, and it's just fun, or they remember him. And but they almost always say, somebody will say, you know, is it hard for you to sing your dad's songs with him not being here? And it's exactly contrary. I feel so close to my dad, and having this in my life and doing all of his music, he's here. I mean, he's with us.
How does it make you feel, Peggy?
I love hearing her sing them. I really do. She does a good job, and it makes me proud that she's carrying on his legacy.
I'm sure you kind of had an idea while all this stuff was happening, the magnitude of his songwriting. What about you as a little girl hearing, you know, your daddy's songs and kind of knowing how big of a deal they were? What were your perceptions of that?
Honestly, I mean, it was fun as a girl. At times it was irritating, because our house was really small, and when Dad was recording or writing or something, we had to be real quiet. And also there was a time, like when I was a teenager, that I was so into, like, not into country music or bluegrass or folk or gospel. It was, you know, rock and roll or nothing. And so I enjoyed Dad's stuff, but I just didn't. It took me a while. You know, this has been a progression of my life too, and I'm so happy it's turned out this way. And I'm also glad that the type of music that Dad does is so timeless, and people enjoy it so much that I think that I'll be able to keep doing this, you know, for a while. I mean, I wish I would have started when I was 20. I wish I would have started when I was 30. But God has plans for us that we just don't know. And so doing it later in life, I know I definitely appreciate it more. And so for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be sharing the Johnny Mullins collection.
So before we go, would you mind playing a little bit of his big song, Blue Kentucky Girl?
Oh, twist my arm.
And I would love to do a part 2 sometime if you guys would want to.
Oh, I'd love that, yeah.
Sure.
There's so much history, so.
All right, this is the big one. Blue Kentucky Girl. You left me for the bright lights of the town. A country boy set out to see the world. Remember when those city lights shine down? Well, that big old moon shines on your Kentucky girl. I swear I love you by the moon above you. How bright is it shining in your world? Some morning when you wake up all alone, just come on home to your blue Kentucky girl.
Thank you both so much for meeting with me today. This has just been wonderful.
Thank you. We are both honored and tickled and sweaty. Just speaking for
Same
myself.
here.
We are really touched that you are including us in this wonderful documentation of something that's very important, and that's the Ozark studies and the Ozark lifestyle and what makes us who we are.
Amen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. And thank you all for watching another edition of Songs of the Ozarks. We'll see you next time.